tragedy has turned into a triumph. Her brother was bullied, and he ended up taking his own life. And, of course, that was completely devastating to the family. But they took that, and they created something now that is helping a lot of people. We're going to talk to her about how they did that. We have a really special guest today. Her name is Victoria Mendez, right? I got that right, didn't I?
Yeah.
Good thing. Thanks for showing up so early on a Saturday morning. I know you're still in high school, right?
Yes.
What grade are you in?
I'm a junior this year.
I'm a junior, yeah. So we're here to talk about a really special organization and Cool to Be Kind, right?
Yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit about the organization, what it does?
Yeah. Cool to Be Kind was started after my brother's death. He took his life because he was being bullied, and his friends came together and started the club to make sure that this wouldn't happen to anyone else. And Cool to Be Kind is all about raising awareness against bullying and empowering kids to speak up when they see bullying happening.
Or when they're being bullied?
Yeah, or when they're being bullied.
Yeah, because not every person who's being bullied feels safe to speak up, right?
Right, yeah. Like a major problem is that they fear retaliation if they report it to the school.
Right.
Like Daniel reported the bullying in middle school, and he said it was the worst mistake of his life because the bullying just got 1,000 times worse. So,
how old was Daniel when the bullying started?
It started in middle school, so about like 6th grade.
Right. And when did he take his life?
May 1st of 2009, so he was a sophomore.
So he was a sophomore.
Yeah.
Right. And so this group then was started basically by his friends.
Yes.
Yeah. And how? Well, could you just tell us a little bit about how this whole thing happened? So, when did you first become aware of what was going on with your brother?
I actually didn't know about it until after he died.
Really?
So, yeah.
And did your parents know about it?
They knew some. They didn't know the full extent of the bullying, and they knew about it in middle school, and they went with him to report it and complain to the school administration, and they got him a few different therapists. The school basically just said, "Oh, we'll handle it. We'll take care of it." And
that's what they said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did they?
No.
Did they even attempt?
No. I mean, nothing really happened to the bullies. Even at the high school, after Daniel died, nothing happened to the bullies.
Wow. Yeah. And what are the negative effects of bullying to the person being bullied?
The psychological studies actually show that bullying, like contrary to belief that it makes you stronger and tougher and it's part of growing up, it actually causes psychiatric injury, and it has the same effects on a person as post-traumatic stress disorder.
Wow. So how did the therapy work for him?
It didn't really work because a major problem in legislation that we're fighting for is that psychologists have to have an amount of hours that they train on, like, spousal abuse and like other things like that.
Child endangerment.
Yeah, stuff like that. But they have no required training on bullying. Mm-hmm. So part of the problem was that Daniel went to these psychologists, and we gave them the information that he was being bullied, but the psychologists just totally went over their heads, and they said they just looked to the family for the problems and didn't look at bullying as the main problem that it really was.
So you're saying that they, instead of dealing with the bullying, they said, what's going on at home?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and how did the family feel about that?
I mean, my parents were open to all questions because they trusted the professionals, and they just wanted to get it taken care of, and they were open to answering all the questions, and the psychologists were extremely confused when they couldn't find any internal family problem.
So then what happened next? See that the therapy wasn't really working?
Yeah. Well, actually, the thing with that, too, was that they did think that the therapy was working because just, like, right before he died, he was still seeing his therapist, and his therapist said, like, he had a great week. We high-fived. He's super excited about, like, life and everything. And we'll see you next week. And he died. And I think it was just nonstop. It just built up to the point where over all the years and just all the insults and all the being pushed around, it just was too much.
What were they bullying him for? Like, what were they targeting him for?
He actually wasn't being bullied for any particular reason. Like, he didn't fall into a high-risk group. You wouldn't, like, look at him and think that, oh, like, he's, like, a nerd and he wears glasses. And
so these are the high-risk groups are being a
Yeah,
nerd.
Well, I mean, people that you would just, like, he wasn't someone you would expect to be bullied. Yeah, like the stereotypical victim of bullying.
Who else? Stuff like that. What kind of stuff were they doing in school that could be, defined under bullying?
The verbal insults, the nonstop name calling. They were actually throwing him into trash cans at school. And just pushing him against lockers, always hitting him, stuff like that.
So that's violence. I mean, and the school did not respond to that?
No.
Why? Did they say why they wouldn't respond to that?
I don't know. I think it was mostly just about, like, liability if we respond.
You said that Daniel had a great group of friends who supported him during this time.
Yeah, he did. He had a really solid core group of friends, and they were really devastated after he died.
Okay. And so can you tell me a little bit about how the club, Too Cool to Be Kind?
Yeah.
Too Cool to Be Kind?
Yeah, they just decided, like, something good has to come out of this. Daniel's not going to die in vain. So they started the club at the high school and started having meetings and getting kids involved where they would talk about why anti-bullying is important. And they also brought Blue Ribbon Week to San Clemente, which is National Anti-Bullying Week. And we, throughout the school year, we go to different elementary schools and middle schools and talk to them about just teaching the kids that, like, why it's important to be kind to other people.
And you said and what is the kind of response you get when you go out to other schools and groups and you talk to kids and younger kids?
Oh, the kids, they just, like, love it. They love hearing it from an older kid rather than just some adult that comes with a PowerPoint.
Right.
They just love how we interact with them, and I think they learn a lot from it.
Oh, that's great. Website, right? Is that right?
We have a website. It's cooltobekind.org.
Or something for
that? And we also have safe rooms, which is where it's just like a classroom that kids can come in and talk if they ever need to during lunch.
Right. Okay, so you have now, like, a strategy of coping mechanisms that you can use to help people. All right, I want to talk when we come back a little bit more. We've got Victoria Mendez here with the group Cool to Be Kind. Yeah, that's great. So the people that were helped and healed by that also reach out to help other people.
Right, yeah.
That's awesome. When after your brother died, and how did you feel about getting involved with this cause? Was it hard for you?
No, I never really, it was never really hard. I kind of just knew that this was what I wanted to do, that I wanted to make a difference, and it was important.
Yeah, and your parents, I know your parents play a big part in this. What was their part?
My parents actually started a nonprofit organization called National Association of People Against Bullying, NAPAB for short. And what they do is they offer free legal investigative services to kids who are being bullied, because sometimes a kid will be being bullied and they'll say, I'm being bullied, and the school says, oh, well, there's no proof. So we have volunteers that work in legal and investigative services, and they'll hook the kids up with, like, a secret microphone. And when the kid goes to school, they'll record all the bullying, and they'll be able to prove it and take care of it. Mm-hmm. And also they offer free martial arts for self-defense if needed, and they offer free therapy. They have psychologists who volunteer.
So do you think that the psychologists now are more aware of bullying and are more equipped on how to deal with bullying?
I think the ones that volunteer for the organization definitely are. For psychologists in general, I'd say probably in the last few years with all the recent deaths, that they probably are a little bit more aware of it, but that they still need to be trained on it for sure.
Okay. And what do you think are the biggest like you said, there were categories of high risk people that were bullied.
But for high risk categories, in legislation, actually, this is another problem with legislation, is that a lot of legislation reads, no one person should be bullied due to race, color, creed, religion, or sexual orientation. And those are the things that people sometimes get targeted for. But the problem with that clause is that it excludes people who are not being bullied for any of those things, but are still being bullied.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Well, I know that. And what happened to the people that were bullying your brother? Was there any kind of change with them? Any kind of remorse, sorrow?
I mean, it was different with different ones. I think one of them was really torn up about it and was just really remorseful, and some of them were just yeah, I bullied him, but didn't think he was going to kill himself. And nothing really happened to them. They just moved on to college. They didn't get suspended or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, once again, can you tell people how to get in touch with your organization, either if they need help or maybe they might want to help people?
Yeah. The website is cool. The number 2, and then bekinds.org. And my parents' nonprofit is NAPAB.org. With my parents' nonprofit, they're lobbying to get kids the same rights that adults have in the workplace, because adults in the workplace wouldn't just be able to go around and bully each other. They would be they would get in
they would get fired, or they could even get sued.
Yeah, they would get in serious trouble for harassment, whereas at schools, kids don't have that same protection.
Yeah. There has to be some rights, some protection for people. You can't, at least as good as, in the workplace, right?
Right.
And so do you think that that's gotten better?
I think it's gotten a little bit better, but there's definitely still a really long way to go before.
Right.
And then even similar to the protection that adults have in a workplace.
Right. And I think that
you relatively new and still kind of growing, and there's we could use a lot of help. And
great, yeah, that's great. How can people get involved to help you? What type of help do you need?
Anything. Donating money is a big way to help, even if you donate just whatever, $5.
Right.
It goes a long way. That they could donate that to NAPAB. If you're a psychologist that specializes in anything related, that would be really helpful.
And again, they can just go to your website.
Right. And if you're a teacher maybe, or a principal, even a student at any school, you can start a Cool to Be Kind club.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And again, that's cool, and then tobekind.org.
Right. And the number 2.
And what's the number?
The number.
But before we play it, I just really want to thank you, Victoria. Thank you for really just bringing so much light into the world, and love and kindness. I mean, that's one thing, right? We could use more of is compassion and kindness. Mm-hmm. And I'm, must have been I'm sure the loss of your brother was devastating to you, but thank you for turning around and helping people not to end up like your brother did, and not to have to suffer, when they go to school. I really appreciate all the goodness that you've brought to the world in that regard, and that it's going to other schools. I saw the organization has been opened in about 7 other schools. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's about 9.
9?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And it's just going to keep growing, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. I would love to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
I know that there were some people that were interested from your group to be on the show, so we would love to have you on, have you back, have you on every so often. In any way that we can be of any help, just let us know.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome.